Hi, my name is Sherry Pittman, and I'd like to welcome you to another segment of Survive and Thrive with Sherry. Today, we have with us Mrs. Doris Turner. Doris,
hi.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're so welcome. We've been chatting a little bit before the show, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, I should have just gotten to know Doris earlier back many moons ago. We've known each other from other different areas in the community. But enough about that. You have some very exciting things going on. In fact, so many things. We only have a half an hour today, but maybe we'll have to have you come back and talk about some of the other things.
Sounds like a plan.
But you are an alderman.
Yes.
With the city.
Yes.
But you're also a county chairman.
I am.
For the state of Illinois.
For the Democratic Party in Sangamon County.
In Sangamon County. And there's other things going on as well. But let's start out by talking about the county chairman.
Okay.
Let's just go straight there.
Okay.
It's my understanding that you are the first, not just female county chairman for either the Democrat or the Republican side, but you're the first African American county chairman, African American and female.
No.
So either category.
Yeah, not necessarily female, but I am the first African American male or female county chairman in the state of Illinois. So that's very, very exciting.
You would think that Chicago would have had someone,
Yes.
but not so.
Not so. And there are pockets of, large pockets of African Americans in Southern Illinois, so you would have thought as well, but no. So we are definitely doing some trailblazing in Sangamon County.
Wow. Now, you guys know that we often talk about marriage on this show. So here's the marriage question. Your husband, has he played a role in your being county chairman and having this historical making African American female for that has never been either? I can't get it out right. never been right on Democratic or never been there on Democratic or Republican side.
He has played a major role. As a matter of fact, my husband Cecil is the reason why I even became interested in politics. He was the person who was always interested in our moving and shaking and being involved, and I was always at home. Wondering, why am I sitting at home and he's always out doing this? And so then I said, okay, if you can't beat him, join him. And then that's how I became involved. And that was, many years ago, too many to even talk about. And he remains, my biggest supporter, my biggest advisor, and the person that I really go to and bounce a lot of things off of. And no matter what it is that, we begin to do, we do it together.
Awesome.
And, just kind of encourage and push each other. So no one was any more happy for me than he was. And he was the person that actually said, you should do this, you can do this. And sometimes even when you have personal doubts about whether this is something that's possible, because, when I first became involved in politics, walking precincts way back in the early 80s, a county chairman was someone that you just never thought could be you.
Right.
And so my husband was the person that continued to whisper in my ear, you can do this, you can do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What parts about it? Well, first of all, let me ask you in terms of marriage, how many years have you been married?
Oh my goodness, we were married in 1977, so we're coming up
36?
on 35 years.
35? Okay.
August the 19th will be 35 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm excited.
You should be.
I'm
it's a major accomplishment.
It really is.
And to be at the place where you are, I can tell that you're having, it's a good time for your marriage and your relationship.
It is.
And 35 years doesn't happen without a lot of things, ups and downs, and some good, some bad. There's just
most definitely, and that's part of what marriage is all about. It's about being with someone that you not only love and care about, but someone that will always be there to support you and make it through the good times and the bad times. And we learn a lot from our bad times. And sometimes people want to gravitate towards everything that's good and happy.
Well, we all like that.
But sometimes when you are having, those bad times
or learning opportunities.
Yes, it makes you stronger.
Yes.
And then it puts you in a place where you can enjoy the happy times even more so.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, I just want to say again, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
So your biggest cheerleader is your husband,
Yes.
Cecil. And you started out walking precincts.
Yes.
And you had no idea that you would later be county chairman.
Never.
So how long have you officially been county chairman?
It's only been a few months,
Okay.
so it's still very, very new.
Congratulations again.
Thank you. Yes, it's only been, but things are going well.
Okay.
And-
What was the biggest thing that you were concerned about during those years when your husband was saying, "You can do this"? What was holding you back?
This may sound, really kind of strange to people, and my mother always told me that I did not really have the constitution for politics because I was always a person who wanted to please everybody, wanted everybody, to like you, and was very emotional.
Well, I think
And
but besides the emotional part, I think that fits for politicians.
Everybody.
They want everybody to like them. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so I think part of it was just the fact that could I really do this? Could I really be successful at it? And looking at the people who came before me, and so it's like when I was looking at myself juxtaposed against them, there were so many ways in which I was very different. But now I see that those differences were actually my strengths.
Isn't that interesting?
Those differences were actually my strengths. And I also come to the realization that I can't just rely on myself and what I bring. I have to also rely on those individuals that have reached out and said, I will help you, I will support you. And it is not an I thing. It is all about how we bring together all of those different resources and stakeholders to ensure success, and everybody shares in that success. And I think that that's one of the big things that has helped me be successful in the political arena and its election as county chairs. When I was talking about all of this, I was talking about what we can do together, how we can reach out and take the strengths of everybody that is a stakeholder in the Sangamon County Democratic Party, and how we can pull all of those people together, because we need everyone in order for us to be successful.
Well, I have to tell you, you're sounding like a presidential candidate to me. I love that. Now, when you talk about those things that you saw as your being different, but they were actually your strength.
Right.
What were some of those things?
I think just the fact that I come from a very strong community background. I started out in this whole, political arena as part of being part of the community and seeing what changes I thought needed to be made and how we could enrich and enhance our community. But in order to do that, we really had to become more politically active.
Okay.
And
was that before your walking the precinct days?
Kind of.
You were involved with the community before that?
Yes,
Okay.
early on. Started out really as being active in my kids' schools. And then it kind of, just progressed
naturally.
on.
Where did it progress? What was the next progression?
well,
Because a lot of people are involved with their
Yeah, well,
their
I was involved with
children's
my
schools.
kids' schools and with them and being a real active parent. And then I started seeing things in my own neighborhood that were interesting to me that I thought I really needed to be addressed. I live on the east side of Springfield, have always lived there. I feel very committed to the east side of Springfield. And while, my husband and I could choose to live anywhere, I chose to live there and stay there and raise my family there.
And that's true for a lot of people.
And raise my family there. And I live very close to a public housing development. And there were a lot of young teen mothers that would just kind of stop by and talk to me, and we'd have conversations. And then, we kind of saw a need to just be very supportive and put together some type of a support system for these young ladies. And so that's, we started doing that and just started, being that support system. Because sometimes it's not necessarily that people don't want to do.
Right.
They may just not know how to do.
Exactly.
And so they just need a little help. Because I think back, when I was a young mother, and I had a big support system around me, and I think about how that support system helped me to raise my children and become the person that I am today. And so we can't continue to sit back and talk about what parents are not doing, because sometimes if you don't know what you don't know,
you can't do anything better
or different.
Okay.
So we started doing those kinds of things, and then it just kind of became a natural progression.
Okay. I was going to ask you something, and I've got all into the story and lost my train of thought here. But when you were helping the young ladies in the neighborhood and trying to find out what they need and be a support to them, were your own children adults by then, or was this simultaneous?
No, they were young, and
young meaning.
Elementary, middle school,
Okay,
and then we started
very
doing Girl Scout. I had to do Girl Scout troop even when I didn't have a daughter that was of that age.
Nice.
I was was involved with Boy Scouts, and was a dead mother when my kids were when my boys were younger. So just always trying to do what I could to be of assistance.
That's awesome.
And then you start thinking about how the whole political arena kind of meshes with that.
When did you start thinking about that?
It became part of, candidates were always, can you help us? Can you help us? So then it became, okay, so why should I help you?
What are you doing?
Yeah, what kind of impact are you going to make on my community if I help you become elected? So then, the whole dynamic changed to, I am not just helping you because we are both Democrats, because I'm a very strong Democrat, feel very, very strongly about the Democratic Party. So it became more than just, I'm helping you because you're a Democrat. What kind of commitment are you going to make to my community? And then it became, I can do this, and then if I am the candidate, if I am the elected official, then I know what my community needs, and I know how best to make that happen.
Because
and I can
you had
do
already had that experience with the young ladies and being involved with the schools, doing the Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts.
Yeah, both.
Was it both? And had you had other community activities as well?
Oh, most definitely. I was very involved with my church, and those those kinds of things. And so it it just kind of evolved from there.
When the time came, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, you were ready to enter those doors.
I tried to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break.
Okay.
We're going to be back in just a moment, but we want to remind you that you can catch the show Survive and Thrive with Sherry every Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. right here on Fox Channel 7, Fox 55 Channel 7. But you can also catch the show on Access 4 on Saturdays at 10:30, 4:30, and 10:30. So we hope that you have enjoyed our first segment with Doris Turner, our new county chairman, Democratic county chairman, and the first of her kind. And we will be right back with you in just a moment. Hi, my name is Sherry Pittman, and I'd like to welcome you to join us in watching Survive and Thrive with Sherry every Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. on Fox Channel 7 WRSP. You can also catch us on Access 4 at 10:30, 4:30, and again at 10:30 p.m. We look forward to having you join us watching the show. We love to talk about marriages and other things as well, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. Thanks for coming back or staying with us. We appreciate that. Doris, we were just chatting a little bit about your desire. We know that you work a state job. We didn't exactly say that. Doris also works a job. In addition to being alderman, county chairman, she also works full-time for the state. You are a busy woman, by the way.
Yes, a lot going on.
A lot going on. One of the things that you shared with me before the show was that you would love to idealistically be in politics and community service. That's really where your heart is. Perhaps if you ever retire as a result of what's going on with the state, we won't go there right now. You may actually get your wish to be able to do full-time politics and community service.
I would really, really love to do that. And actually, once I do retire, that is probably what, the direction that I will go, and just continue to stay involved with my community and community service, continue to stay involved in the political arena, whether it be as an elected official or just a, very ardent, inspired, volunteer, but definitely stay involved with both of those two areas.
Well, I see you doing them both, just as a matter of choice of what you really want to do. I would hope, though, that you would remain, and this is not a Democratic or a Republican statement here. This is a community statement that the things that I've heard you describe as far as working with the youth and looking at your community and identifying what needs to be done and then really rolling up your sleeve and getting involved actually has set you up to be involved with politics. And I love what you said earlier, again, not Democratic or Republican, but the fact that even though you are a staunch Republican, staunch, I guess that's the word, that's better, a staunch Republican, you still wanted Democrat. You weren't going to let me ride with that.
I was stopping.
You still wanted more from your candidates before you were involved than just, well, I'm a Democrat or I'm a whatever. You wanted to know, and what are you going to do about the problems that we have that you are already working on?
Exactly.
And I think that's pretty amazing. I think you're a perfect setup. And I guess it sounds like a little bit of commercial. She has not paid me to say this, people. But you're a perfect setup for the offices that you currently hold as alderman, as county chairman. Where are you going to go next?
I don't know.
Where would you like to go next?
I really enjoy what I'm doing now.
Well, I understand that. Don't give me the political answer here.
No, I really do enjoy what I'm doing now.
But what would naturally
it is
be
kind of a
next?
natural progression. I don't know. Maybe something else with the city, maybe something, with the state.
I'm thinking state level here.
Yeah. So
don't tell me you've never thought about it. I don't know if I would believe you.
It really has. It has come up several times. As a matter of fact, when I was very involved with drawing the new map and our new legislative district, and there were a number of individuals who came to me and talked to me about running for that state representative seat. And it is something that at some point I might be interested in, but I was so new in my position as an alderman, and I had really made a commitment to my constituencies, and I felt like I could not, at that point stray away from that. So it just wasn't, the right time for me to do that.
What's your commitment to your constituencies?
Well, I when I walked and talked and asked them to elect me, I told them that I would help them to do certain things, that I would help them improve their community.
Okay.
I would help them to, make the city more accountable to Ward 3.
Okay.
And I just didn't feel like, that I had fulfilled any of that because I had only been elected just, a few months.
Were those your two things that you told your constituents?
They really were. I had a, kind of a 3-point plan that when I walked and talked and I said, these are some of the things that.
So what's the third one? We're missing one.
we talked about.
Don't tell me you forgot.
No. As I was out walking and talking, we talked about 3 things that we really wanted to do. And one of them was to address the abandoned buildings, boarded up properties that were in the ward.
Yes.
That has been an issue for a very, very, very long time.
Okay.
The second one was that I really wanted to do something about the way that the city does their finances and their budgeting, the budgeting process. We really wanted to do something about making an impact on that budgeting process. And then the third one was that we really needed to do something about infrastructure, not only in Ward 3, but throughout the city, but especially in Ward 3. As you know, Ward 3 is what would be considered the older inner city, neighborhoods. And there are a lot of issues, while there are a lot of strengths, and I love everything about it. We do have a lot of issues that we need to have addressed, and I think that it is, the city's responsibility to, work with the aldermen and work with the residents in Ward 3 to, address those issues.
Now, you've been aldermatic or alderwoman how long now?
Just a little over a year. It was a year in April.
1 year. And when does your term expire?
I have 3 more years to go. It's a 4-year term.
Okay. And you said that you told your constituents that you needed buildings, budget, and
infrastructure.
So how much have you done or had an opportunity to do?
You know, actually, I feel very good about my first year.
Good. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, working with another one of the newly elected aldermen, we were able to put together an ordinance to address the boarded up buildings, abandoned properties issue, and we got the support of other aldermen on the council. We were able to pass that ordinance, and it really did address a lot of the issues that we were facing around those lines. And if you drive through Ward 3, you will see a big difference.
Who was the other alderman you worked with?
Alderman Corey Job and I started the process. And then, of course, you can't do anything until you get to 6.
Right.
And then we were fortunate enough to have, 3 other aldermen and the mayor to join us and,
and have made that difference.
Yes, and have made that difference. And then, the next step with that is after you do something about taking control of the boarded up buildings and abandoned properties, what happens then? So I was able to work a partnership with the local operating engineers union local, and what they have done, which was very integral to this whole process, is that they will demolish the buildings at no charge as as part of their apprenticeship program.
Oh wow!
So,
and the removal?
Yes. And so once we have identified the buildings and say, okay, we're taking ownership of them, something has to be done, then that there is not an additional financial burden on the city. The operating engineers comes in and levels that property, and then the next step. Okay, so now what happens? We have been able.
Well, first I want to just say that that's a beautiful relationship between business, or I guess maybe that's education, and the community. Yes. That's awesome. Go ahead.
And then we have been able to put those properties into use because just recently, I believe there were 13 properties that we put out for bid, and individuals, bid on them. And when we did that, we said that as we award these, it's not going to be based just on what your monetary bid was. It also is based on what your use is going to be. So you have to demonstrate that there's going to be good use for these properties. So now we have these properties that were once eyesores, and not only eyesores but a health hazard, that are now leveled, beautified, and put into use. A couple of them.
Go back for just a second. Mm-hmm. When you said that, as far as the bids were concerned, it was not just going to be the dollar amount. What? Say that part again.
It was not just the dollar amount. It was also taking into consideration what your stated use was. So when you said
two things, stated use.
The stated use and basically
and the amount.
Okay. Right? And so what we have now is, where we had eyesores and health hazards, we now have one individual is building a beautiful new home, which will put money back on the tax rolls, and also provide housing for his family. We have people that have community gardens, which is a wonderful use for them. And then there are others where maybe if you lived next to this property, it just became, you could increase your yard space, build a garage, and so.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, that has just been absolutely wonderful.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time on the show, so I want to zip back into budget, infrastructure, and the boarded up buildings. We talked about the boarded up buildings. Infrastructure you just talked about.
Right.
Budget. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I came to the city as an alderman from being a county board member.
Yes.
And I really believe that my time that I spent, the 10 years that I spent on the county board, prepared me extremely well for my position as alderman. And one of what I think is one of the strengths of the county board and the county system is their budgeting processes.
Oh, okay.
And I was always very amazed at the way that the city went about their budget process. So being a brand new alderman, I really could not affect that much, because it began before I got there.
You saw the need, but you needed to...
Right. But what I did do is that I passed an ordinance that put in place the fact that the Office of Budget and Management had to present a quarterly financial report that included very specific things that put us in a place where we could do quarterly budgeting decisions, and not just wait until the end of the year and try to figure out, where do we go from here. So for me, that was major. And I think
and you've seen a lot of other things that you can do as well.
Yes.
Now, we only have like a minute and a half, and I want to jump in here and say this. I want to be so bold as to say to you that as long as you continue to have your health and strength, you will be one of our next state representatives. I see very clearly the earmarks. This is not just some flattery stuff. When you, and I don't know if I have time enough to say this, but when you talked about what you wanted from the person running for a Democratic Party, which you were a part of, you stated that it was more than just being Democratic. What are you going to actually do in terms of the problems? And when you stated, you started talking about the next level, and I'm feeling the pressure of the time and I can't get it out, but it was all about the community, the boarded up buildings and the bidders. It was the same concept there. Yes, the money, fine, everybody wants it, but what are you going to do with this afterwards? Those are the earmarks for your next level. I see it as plain as day. I want to go on record for having said it. Now, evidently, somebody else saw it because they asked you, but I just want to say, and I'm not your campaign manager, I don't get paid for saying this, but I clearly see you as going to the next level.
Thank you.
I have so enjoyed being with you today. It has been a pleasure. I hope we get to spend more time
most
again,
definitely,
Doris.
and I did enjoy it as well. Thank you very much for having me.
You're so very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for serving our community.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. That's about it for today. It's a wrap. Join us again next Wednesday at 7:30 on Fox 55 Channel 7. Bye-bye.